Hello, I'm Christian Roberts. I'm here with my fabulous friend and co-host,
Quodicia Johnson.
and we are back with another episode of Taking the Stage with Christian.
And Quo. And of course, as we begin every episode, we start this episode with a land and people acknowledgement. We take the time right here, right now in this place to acknowledge that Dallas is on stolen land. We are on the land of the Caddo, the Wichita, and the Comanche sovereign nations, of human beings who cultivated the land since time immemorial. Nations of human beings who also faced horrible conditions, including genocide and policy that allowed for forceful removal by any means necessary. We also acknowledge that people were stolen from their homes and brought here to Dallas and forced into free and enslaved labor. From that free and enslaved labor, from that dehumanization, from stolen land, from stolen lives, from stolen people, we have what we now enjoy as Dallas in various ways. We do this never to cast blame. These are all things that we've inherited, just like I've inherited the last name of Johnson as a descendant of enslaved people, as Ms. Roberts has as well. We've inherited these conditions, but with that, we've also inherited the opportunity, the ability, the honor, and the responsibility to speak truth, to heal the harm going forward, and to create greater connections together. We thank you for joining us for this land and people acknowledgement.
And we thank you for joining us for this episode. Thank you for your continued support and to that you continue watching after we've been doing this for a while. So, Quo, let's just dive right on in.
Boom.
So so this episode, we're going to talk about things we are noticing.
Yeah.
Um, as we continue to try to do this work and progress forward, not only in the industry, but in our world. And one of the things that is vitally important is that we continue to move forward.
Yes.
And unfortunately, in some cases, it seems like we are moving forward, but also taking 50,000 steps back. Okay, it might be an exaggeration, but pretty
50,000
large
steps
steps
back.
back. And
We ain't
we have to
going
be very
nowhere.
careful. We are in a time right now where we must stick to what we said we were going to do
Mm-hmm.
in terms of providing a space of equity, diversity, and inclusion and
Mm-hmm.
belonging. Um, and in a lot of cases, access as well
Mm-hmm.
and justice.
Uh-huh.
That has been coming around. What is it, Jedi now?
Jedi. Yeah.
Now you know I
Okay.
like that term. Okay,
Jedi.
lightsabers up. Anyway, I bring that up because Cole and I have a lot of conversations. We talk a lot. We talk almost every day, and this just popped up. It was like, okay, what are we noticing?
What do we
So
notice?
I'm gonna turn it to Quo right now because there's a lot going on in terms of what we are noticing.
Yeah.
So Quo travels all over the place, and engages with different people. So we decided to ask each other what we are noticing. So what are you noticing, my friend?
Of course. So what I am noticing is the result of a combination of commitments and combinations of levels of commitment. Some people were so committed to this work, especially kind of leaning in even deeper after George Floyd was murdered, and there's this greater awareness. Some people and some organizations leaned in very heavily. Some organizations, some people, organizations are made up of people. So I'll say people. Some people responded kind of knee-jerk reaction. Oh, this doesn't feel good. Oh, we got to do something. But in doing something, wanted to get to some type of result as quick as possible. Others jumped on because that's what was happening. And now people feel like they're over it. They're done. There are other things to now distract us. There are other things to take our attention. We got to produce. We got to do these performances. We have to go through these programs, all of these things to make us sometimes feel like we are doing something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So I'm noticing that there is not a cohesive approach to when we are doing something, ensuring that those things are still rooted in equity, in inclusion, in creating a better environment for the people who are doing the work. Here's the equity decision, and then here's the artistic decision. Here's when we make an equity decision. Here's when we make a business decision.
Ooh.
Not understanding that all of those have to happen simultaneously. They have to come together. I'm also noticing that people who are ill-equipped to make those decisions will not move. So let's be real about it. If you lack the ability to put all those things together, acknowledge it, seek help, right? What is it? Get some help. Seek
Get some
help.
help.
And when
Stop
you
it. Get
do
some help.
get some help, stop it, right? And when you do get help, I am also noticing that people are still wanting to control how comfortable they are and how competent they appear. So even as an equity specialist, I get this a lot sometimes. It's we need to do this amount of time together. We need to work on these types of things. We need to say these terms. We need to get comfortable having these conversations. And we get, or I often get, well, can we do it in half that amount of time? Well, can we not talk about that? So here it is, this fully, not fully baked, but here are all the ingredients that we need in order to create something meaningful. And you are now the sous chef, right? Or you're the co-chef, whichever one you call it. You're the person helping to co-create this. And because you are comfortable, you are taking out so much of the necessary things that have to happen. So then when you put it in and it comes out half baked or it doesn't come out the way you want it to, or it comes out that you're still having these issues, or it comes out that you're still saying not the wrong thing, but saying harmful things, that you still are not in an environment where you can have these conversations. We've been in this 2+ years, right? That we're in a space where we're not able to have these conversations as cohesively and in such a meaningful way that will allow us to move to the next step. Now there's an issue. But remember, you didn't want to do it the right way to begin with. Or you didn't want to do it the most meaningful way to begin with. You want to take it apart. You want to instead of doing 3 hours, let's do 2 hours. Let's do 30 minutes. Let's not have that conversation. Well, let's wait until we finish this over here because that's the equity decision. And I don't have time for that right now. I got to make a business decision. And again, if you lack the ability to do both, acknowledge it, get help, and accept it the way that it needs to come and know that it's going to be uncomfortable, or move. We got options. And I'm also noticing that people are not seeing these as active choices. And people are not naming things. So because we don't name it, it's in this space of ambiguity of, oh, well, that's just the way it is. No, I need you to look me in the face and name that you don't want to do this. You do want to do this, but it doesn't feel great, which is completely okay. You are working to do this. Here are the other things that you need to learn. Here are the other things that I need to learn. Here are the things that I'm struggling with. So we are in a space where people are either pushing forward, people are pulling back, and that's a combination of people who were never actually committed to the work, or people being so committed to the work that they're not supported by others, so it gets tiring. And we're in a space where things are not being named, right? Things are not being named as racist, as sexist, as homophobic, as ableist, as ageist. Things are not actually being named.
Fatphobic.
As fatphobic. Things are not actually being named in these spaces so that we can address them. So we just keep kind of muddling around the same thing. It's if I hear a note that's not correct, I'm not gonna tell everybody else to sing louder. Like, I need y'all to stop.
I need you to fix the note.
So we can address it, fix it.
Yeah.
It's not just gonna correct itself. We gotta fix it. Because then we create a habit of not addressing it. And then when it comes time for performance, it's not just gonna fix itself. What we have been practicing and what we have allowed ourselves to do continuously now becomes muscle memory. So now we actually have to interrupt what we are doing and find a different way to do it as we address the challenges. So that's what I'm noticing. That's what I'm seeing.
Well, that's our show for the day, folks. Because I have nothing but amen for that. What I'm noticing, okay, because I can talk about
what
anything.
Are you noticing?
What I'm noticing? First of all, I'm noticing everything that you are noticing. The thing that I'm also noticing is that when you get the persons, like when you recognize that you need some help, okay, you don't know how to do education or engagement programs, you're not sure how to put together a marketing plan, or you're not sure how to do this fundraising campaign, or you're not sure how to do EDI, okay, and then you hire an expert, you hire somebody for their expertise to come in and do it, and then you say, not like that.
Right. Or not over there.
Or not over there. Or this is untouchable. Or these things are untouchable. And folks, we have to let that go. We are in an art form that has things going on simultaneously at once. You look at that stage and we put this pretty picture for the audience to see. But the mechanisms behind that That's the real show. When you look off in the wings, when you look at all of that stage crew and all those folks in wardrobe and makeup, all of these people calling the super titles, all this kind of stuff, right? There is a lot going on behind the scenes to reach that goal of putting up a wonderful performance. This quality work of art, all this artistic quality people say they want, and we will literally go to the edge of hell and back to make sure that that product is suitable for the audience we are trying to draw. Why are we not doing the same thing in our offices?
Yeah.
I say that because I know a lot of people are attempting to do it, and you have my respect. Okay, you have my backing. You will never hear from me, oh no, don't try. Absolutely try. But what I'm saying is, when you get somebody in there and they are doing the job that you asked them to do because you don't know how to do it, and you have asked them to do something, and then you constantly stifle them by shaving minutes off here. Okay, oh, don't say it like that over there, when they're saying nothing that is it's rooted in truth. And I know my friend here, I know how careful she is when she does this work. I know how careful she is. I know how much she thinks so deeply about every single thing she does. And most equity specialists I know do that. They sit down and meticulously pore over the things and how they're going to deliver information. Okay, so all of the brain work, everything, and I'm not saying that people are above reproach or anything like that.
No,
Okay,
no,
because
no.
what she will also do is ask me questions after I've been in a session or something that she's been doing. This is the reason why I say this to you. If you're going to hire somebody to come and do a job and then not allow them to get it done, then why are they there?
Right. And I'm
You're wasting
noticing.
money and you're wasting time. Okay, and that's not good for business. Another thing that I'm noticing, we
Mhm.
continuously forget that this kind of work is good for your bottom line. Okay, and I am seeing what I have noticed. If there are certain entities and certain makeup of groups of folks who would rather see the art form or the company or the organization tank rather than seeing it go in a direction that it needs to go for the sustainability, particularly in the 21st century. Folks, that's not good. That's not good, right? And it makes the job harder and it makes it more difficult. And I say this because we live in a world where information is at our fingertips. We have people who are actively trying to help fix this and make this better for all involved. All right. We have people clamoring to come into our industry. We have people literally going into arts administration programs. Kids are still graduating high school and actively pursuing singing careers or conducting careers, all of these things. And then if they see this stuff, they're going back on things, not seeing themselves on stage, not seeing themselves as artists, not seeing themselves within the hierarchy of the organization, period. And then we go, why won't anybody apply? Why is recruitment down? Why is this? Well, why would they want to be involved with that? So
Mhm.
you have to understand we only hurt ourselves as more and more things become more public, as people have more access to TikTok and YouTube and all of these things. Folks are trying to do things in different ways, and the truth is bubbling up every single day. And there's no stopping it. And the reason why I say that we can either use that truth as a stepping stone for higher ground,
Mhm.
or we can continue to try to shove stuff over it and shove it out of the way and then wonder why our seats are not filling. Okay, wonder why our boards are not being more diversified. Well, because we have a world right now that is globally mixed up. Everybody knows somebody from everywhere. It really is like that, and it is a beautiful, remarkable, wonderful thing. And we must begin to take advantage of this. This is the time. If we can put on these big, gigantic performances in a space and time with all of these inner workings, there is absolutely no reason why we should be walking back on anything we were going to said we were going to do in light of George Floyd, particularly in light of George Floyd. It is almost a slap in the face to start work like this that is so personal to so many people. Okay, that the people have to walk into the office every day carrying extra weight. It is insulting, particularly for those who don't have to carry the same kind of weight or in the same kind of way and have the power and position to keep the momentum going. Refuse
Mhm.
or back off. Now, I get business. I want to be very clear. Before somebody hop in the comments talking about business, I get it. I completely understand that people have to work, they have to eat, that they have to learn, earn a living. But how much better would it be? How much more will get produced? And folks, I don't look. You can look up, you can Google the results of people doing programming like this in corporate, in the corporate world. You can Google it over in the sports world. You can Google it. Shoot, ask the Dallas Mavs. Okay, just had a meeting with one of them this morning. She's fantastic. I won't name her name because she's not. She doesn't know I'm talking about her. But I talked to her this morning. You know, and I was truly inspired by the work that they're trying to do within their organization. Okay, now is it always easy for any of us? No, not all the time. No, but it's going to work to make things better. And the bottom line is the research shows that if you do this, your business improves, your engagement improves, your revenue improves, your giving improves, all of it improves. And we must, as an industry, get ready to do that. That shouldn't be our only reason for doing that, but we have to recognize that we have an art form in its current state. I'm about to say something that's going to tick a lot of people off, but in its current state, it's not sustainable.
Oh, of course it's not sustainable. That's why we keep having these conversations. If you thought it was sustainable
at all, it's not sustainable.
If you thought it was sustainable, then we got to have some more conversations, and then you got to stop talking. Yeah, we got to have some conversations, and then you need to stop talking and listen. If you think that what's happening right now is sustainable, then you're not listening to any of the general directors, any of the board chairs who are showing and demonstrating otherwise, any of the CFOs, anybody who's, it's not sustainable. And the way that we engage in the art form is not sustainable, right? So we have unsustainable practices. That's one of the things that we've been saying. And this constant hamster wheel of some of it is just going to be a part of what happens in the not-for-profit or for the nonprofit model. But this constant hamster wheel of we are operating in the deficit, we're operating with debt, right? Moving into future seasons, trying to hopefully make up for something. And we're seeing a shift in the audience. We're seeing a shift in access to funding, seeing a shift in the access to interest, seeing a shift in access to communities and to partnerships. There is a shift. That shift has been long coming, but the shift is there. And so as we look at whether or not, the question isn't whether or not what we're doing is sustainable. That's why we keep coming to these same problems. It's not sustainable. The question is, are you going to acknowledge that what we have been doing is not working for what we need right now? If, yeah, right, there's that yes or no. You got the little flow chart, yes or no. If it's no, go over there. Go over there. Go over there. You mind your business over there. If it's yes, then let's continue to find different ways, right? Let's continue to find different actions and collective solutions to what we're experiencing. It's not going to be the same in every region, but there's going to be a foundation. It's going to be a foundation for each organization, for each community, all of the things that we're facing. There's a foundation that we want to set, and that is centering humanity. And then moving forward from there.
And I'll say this. Once again, there's a reason why there's an HR manager or HR department, human resources, because none of this moves without people helping to make it move. Operas don't get produced by snapping our fingers and putting them, and it just pops. Whoop, whoop. There's the Hansel and Gretel set. That does not happen. People are moving and working all the time to make sure this gets done. And folks, we must recognize that. We must recognize and continue to treat our artists. Our artists are human beings, not machines. Our administrators are human beings, not machines. Yes, we are to produce. Yes, we need to do what we need to do. Yes, we need to be on the job and get the job done. You will never get an argument with me about that. Absolutely. But you also need to create an environment to where they can do that job and they're not bumping up against some of the things that we talked about earlier in this conversation. If you hire them, allow them to do the work. And it might not be easy, but it must be done. It has to be done.
Yeah. And even in that, if you're hiring someone, it's because you know that work is necessary, which means that you know your environment has to change, which means you know that you are not up to par. You're not where you want to be. So don't pretend like you are. And don't pretend like it only takes a few more steps and a few more kind of little notches and a little few tweaks here and there to get there. No, you have somebody within whom you have invested, right? You've invested in this person, you brought somebody in. It's a whole role. There's whole responsibilities. They have to engage with everybody else. Do not deny the truth of that investment. Do not deny the truth of that commitment. Do not deny the skills and the humanity of the individuals you're bringing in. The environment is not where it's supposed to be, which is why we have other people kind of coming in. Or the environment is not where you want it to be. The skill, the work, the results, not where you want it to be. So you hire people. That's what happens, right? If we are in a space where we're just wanting to maintain some things, then that's different. But either way, still trust people to do what you've hired them to do. And before you get there, start to question, do you really want this?
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want it? Because people will not come in for play. Like they're here to do the work. So as we look at all those factors, that's what I'm noticing. I'm noticing we're in a space of people having to not just get creative with how we are executing these commitments, but to really be honest about whether or not that commitment was really sincere. And if it is sincere, what ways are we going forward?
Absolutely. And if you
So
begin
what are
to
y'all noticing,
notice,
right?
yeah, what are y'all know? Yeah,
What
and
are
what are
y'all
y'all
noticing?
noticing? Because this is just what we're noticing. And folks, we're just really in a space right now where I mean, we create art. That's what we do. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. We enjoy what we do. When we put something on stage and we get it there, I mean, it's a product to be proud of. Well, we need to be doing the same things with our people in our offices.
Yep.
Because how are you going to truly engage with your community or communities if your internal community is on fire? And
Yep.
I am not saying that where I currently work is absolving that. We are still working our butts off, trying to figure out how to do this. And I will make and my thing is that as long as I'm standing, have breath in my body, I will continue to talk about these things. I will continue to try to be a voice for change and a voice for solutions. And I definitely know my friend here is committed to doing the same. So, folks, take care of yourself. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and ask yourself the real questions right now. I'm going to turn it over to Quo for positive notes.
Positive notes. Positive notes. We are in this space because something has shifted. I just said a lot of stuff, a lot of things are shifting. We're in this space because things have absolutely shifted. All the stuff we had packed away, calling ourselves cleaning up the room, when we actually just kind of move some stuff around. As we're unpacking that, the room gets messier because suddenly you start to realize all the things that you really had packed away to make it look like it's neat. We're unpacking those things. So we're in a space where things look messy, and that is good because that means that we're kind of getting to the core of it, of getting to the core of the space. Take heart in that. Look at what your commitment means. Let go of that perfectionism. Let go of that sense of you have to be in control about something that you've never experienced. That makes no sense. But know that you don't have to do that alone. As we say so often, name it when you see it, and have the courage and have the audacity and have the humility to be committed to doing something different. Those are my positive notes.
Thank you, Quo. Thank you all for tuning in. Folks, artists are needed. We know this. We've said this over and over again. Administrators, you are needed. We are needed to work together, and we are needed together to create something that we've never seen before, but that can be quite beautiful in the end and will look so much better, and will be worth every single step that we take. All right, folks, that's it for us. We have talked your ear long enough. Talked your ear off long enough. Take care of yourselves. Peace.
Bye.